It is so nice to finally be able to say this, but the next generation of gaming is officially the current generation of gaming, and I think that we're all pretty damn excited about it. Of course, we have the brand new consoles releasing, and with new consoles comes new games. And there are some companies releasing games this launch season that either haven't released games in a while or have kind of lost steam in the gaming industry, like Ubisoft. Ubisoft recently announced that Far Cry 6 was delayed, and we've heard nothing about the upcoming game Skull and Bones, but they've released two new games, Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion, and they're definitely raking in the money with these games because they are launch titles and they're just brand new. People are very excited for them, but unfortunately, they've also decided to bend the knee to outrage mobs on Twitter, and not just once, but twice. I had actually made a post on Twitter saying Ubisoft's been bending the knee hard to the outrage mobs of Twitter. Valhalla is having a character description that reinforces ableism removed, and they've removed a controversial journalist from Watch Dogs Legion. Here are two of the screenshots, but we are, of course, going to read articles about the situations. So the first one is from DualShockers. It says, Assassin's Creed Valhalla enemy backstory featuring ableist language prompts Ubisoft apology. I am so sick of companies releasing products that might have something slightly controversial in it, and then suddenly walking back saying, we're so sorry this happened, we really didn't mean for this to get in our game, when clearly it's in the game, it's in the final product. Plenty of people had to approve these NPCs and these characters and all of these dialogue lines, so why are you apologizing? Just stick to your product. You're going to have much more respect if you just do that. So the article says Assassin's Creed Valhalla is Ubisoft's latest trip into the world of becoming an assassin, and one that seems to have been highly praised for going back to its roots and integrating stealth back into gameplay. The game also follows the story of a character who is a Viking traveling to England to start up a new settlement on new lands, and across those lands are high-powered enemies that of course, want to kill you. But one of those enemies has a backstory that has prompted Ubisoft to apologize for the way that it has handled the backstory. So across the world map, you'll see a white knight helmet icon traveling across the lands. This icon represents a high-powered enemy that appears to be tracking you down, and if you come into contact with them, they'll go into attack mode. Basically, they're bounty hunters of sorts. Each one has their own little backstory, but one that goes by the name of Erifwine, I'm not sure how to say that, has a backstory that has been branded as lazy in telling a backstory, but also ableist and insensitive. So horribly burned during a childhood incident, the character is terrified someone will see her disfigured face. She relives her fury with bursts of violence. The backstory reads available from the world map as shown in the below tweet. Some users have defended the use of the backstory with the usual "it's just a game" comments, while many have shown their displeasure at the writing, claiming it's an overly typical story arc that uses physical differences to create an evil character. It doesn't sound like this character became evil just because of their disfigured face. It just sounds like that's a trait to them, that's something that they care about, and that's, maybe why they're a little bit angry at the world. They're kind of just mad in general, but it doesn't sound like that's the reason why the character got angry in the first place. It just says she relives her fury with bursts of violence, so it just sounds like she's a typically pretty mad character. I don't see why people are so angry at this. Someone said, I didn't include this in my Assassin's Creed Valhalla impressions piece, but it's equally important to address. This is a character description in the game. It's absolutely unacceptable to talk about facial differences this way. Writers for games and otherwise need to do better. And the official Assassin's Creed Twitter had actually responded to this person saying, thank you so much for pointing this out. We apologize for unintentionally reinforcing ableism through this language. We will remove this language in an upcoming update. I seriously don't see why there are a couple of people out there who are very angry about this. And let's be clear, there are only a couple of people that are angry about this. This wasn't trending on social media. There isn't some massive wave of people who are going to boycott the game now. There's just a couple of select people that are very upset by this, and I just don't think that this is some unacceptable thing in a game that needs to be removed. But Ubisoft did reply, as it says, and the article continues on with, just to clarify, the issue surrounding this isn't the fact someone in the game has physical differences at all, but more so to do with the language used to describe it, on top of making the character into an enemy, as opposed to the backstory being twisted to have a more positive take on the situation. So now apparently we can't have characters that are enemies that have backstories about disfigurement and because they're just so angry because something bad happened in their past. No, we can't have that as the enemy now, or else that's apparently just very offensive. Soon enough, every character in video games and in books and in TV shows are all going to be blank pieces of paper. They're not going to have any different characteristics, because we have situations like this where we have one character that's an enemy and everyone gets offended because they're not just like a white straight male character. I feel like that's the only type of character that can be an enemy anymore. But I also wanted to talk about another situation that happened with Ubisoft. This is a gamesindustry.biz article that I'm going to be referencing. Ubisoft is removing a UK journalist from Watch Dogs over controversial remarks. So Ubisoft has revealed it will remove lines recorded by a UK journalist for Watch Dogs Legion after learning of the controversy surrounding her. Helen Lewis, a staff writer for The Atlantic, plays a character simply named Helen on 2 episodes of the game's in-world podcast. However, Kotaku reports the publisher will be removing these episodes from the game after it was made aware of controversial remarks in Lewis's past articles. And of course, you all can guess how they found out about these controversial past remarks. As this article says, it was social media, it was Twitter, people digging up things to yell about and scream about and be angry about, so we have this situation happening now. The article continues on, though, with, while Ubisoft did not specify which remarks prompted the decision, it's believed to be related to ongoing criticism against Lewis over statements and remarks that have been regarded as transphobic. For example, one op-ed she wrote for The Times in 2017 stated, "A man can't just say he has turned into a woman while writing about new legislation proposed to simplify transitioning in the UK." Lewis has previously claimed to support trans rights and criticized the use of the term TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist, and gamesindustry.biz has reached out to Lewis for a comment. Yeah, you can't have opinions anymore, basically. If you want to work for a company like Ubisoft or even like Blizzard, you can't have opinions anymore, and that's so unfortunate to see. Every person that is in this industry, and in many industries, let's look at Hollywood, has to have a specific opinion or else they get kicked out of the industry. And in this situation, when you hire someone, you should know who you're hiring, first of all. And second of all, if a situation arises like this, where it's something that they've done in the past, you should tell people, yes, we weren't aware of this situation when we hired this person, but we're going to keep their work in the game, but just not work with them in the future. I think that that's the professional thing to do in a situation like this, and it's like 0 companies actually do that. They decide to say, we're so sorry to the couple of people who are angry, and they say, we're going to change everything just for you, and that's ridiculous in my opinion. I really just want developers to stop worrying about these few people on social media who are mad about everything, who will skim through someone's past tweets and likes just to dig up some sort of dirt on them. A ton of the people whining about this offensive character description in Valhalla probably aren't even going to buy any of Ubisoft's newest games. Too many of these social justice crazies out there don't buy new games, and because this game had these elements, they'll never forgive Ubisoft, and they won't purchase it even if the company censors these elements. It's extremely sad to see this happening to these 2 new games. I know Watch Dogs Legion right now isn't doing fantastic in sales, but Valhalla just launched. Everyone is extremely excited about it, and I'll be honest, I was pretty excited about it too. It's a game that I was curious about. I think the theme sounds interesting, the characters sound okay, and I was looking forward to maybe getting a chance to play it, but this isn't how you sell games, Ubisoft. You are going to lose real consumers, and this just This isn't good. You need to stop appealing to the people who aren't even purchasing your products most of the time. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video though, please make sure to give it a like and share it. And of course, if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.